Okay, we are back with a banger. We have Alan Wake 2. So Alan Wake 1, I played last year, I think. Either last year or the year before. I played through Alan Wake 1, the original. I didn't play the remake. I don't know if there's any differences between 1 and the remake. I'm sure there is. I played through Alan Wake 1, and I really did not enjoy the gameplay at all. Like, parts of it were fun, but really what kept me going through that game was just the story, the psychological horror aspects of the game. And there were parts that were scary. There were parts that I really enjoyed. But for most part, I didn't really enjoy Alan Wake 1. It felt clunky. The camera was in a weird spot, like a weird over the shoulder, but I think it was over my left shoulder. I can't remember specifically, but I just remember complaining about the camera, the using the flashlight to shine on all the guys and then shoot them. Just it wasn't clicking with me. I wasn't enjoying Alan Wake 1. I did beat the game because, like I said, what kept me going was the story. I really liked the atmosphere. I thought it was pretty good for the most part. But here we are with Alan Wake 2. And I have to say that I think Alan Wake 2 is going to go down as one of the cult classic best horror games, psychological third-person horror games ever. Like, this is going to be up there for a very long time. This was quite the experience, and I loved every second of it. It took me about 19 and a half hours to beat the game, and I loved every second of it. It was so freaking good. Alan Wake 2 was released in 2023. It's a survival horror game made by Remedy Entertainment and published by Epic Games. I played this on Epic Games. It is available on PS5, Windows, and the Xbox. By the end of December of 2023, Alan Wake 2 had sold over 1 million units, and by February 2024 had sold about 1.3 million units, making it Remedy's fastest-selling video game. Alan Wake 2 also won some Game of the Year awards. It won Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, and Best Art Direction. Won all three of those, but it was nominated for so many more. It was nominated for its music, which is freaking a banger. Its audio design, banger. Performance, Melanie Liburd, I believe she plays as Saga. Pretty sure she plays as Saga. She was good. Got nominated for Best Action/Adventure Game. Anyway, it got nominated for a ton of awards across many different award platforms and whatnot. So ever since its release back in 2023, I've heard nothing but good things about it. I believe that I played Alan Wake 1 in 2023. I didn't play American Horror Story or American Nightmare. I think it's American Nightmare, Alan Wake American. I think it was a sequel or a DLC or something. I didn't play that because I just wasn't a big fan of the original Alan Wake. I didn't have fun, and a lot of people really like that game, and maybe if I played it back in 2010 when it came out, maybe I would have liked it more too. However, it just wasn't up to speed. It wasn't up to par. I wasn't having a good time. But here we are with Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2 is incredible. It throws you right into the game. Right in the very beginning, you're playing as Saga Anderson, who she is an FBI agent. She's driving through the forest headed to Bright Falls. Oh my god, I just beat the game. I think it's called Bright Falls. Saga's heading there, and she is supposed to be doing a murder investigation for another FBI agent named Nightingale. At the very beginning of the game, you play as Nightingale. You see his fat, naked body. You see his member. You see all of it right at the very beginning of the game. When we first start, we get introduced to the cult. There's kind of two ongoing aspects of the story. You've got the cult, which is what Saga is investigating, and then you've got Alan Wake's story, which you play as both of those. You go back and forth between Saga and Alan Wake. And Alan Wake, he is in the dark place, and he's trying to get out of the dark place. Going back and forth, we've got the cult with Saga, and she's investigating that, trying to figure out why all these murders are happening, who's in charge of the cult, what they're doing. And then you've got Alan, who's trying to get out of the dark place, and he is dealing with his alter ego, the dark version of Alan Wake, called Scratch. And Scratch is trying to essentially write a story to end the world, I think is what his whole main goal of this was. So going into the gameplay, it's playing as Saga and Alan is a little bit different. Saga, I had a lot of fun with. I mean, even with Alan, I still had a ton of fun, which I feel like Alan had better levels. But Saga's gameplay was a little more interactive because while you're playing as Saga, you can go into what's called her mind place. And you basically you got this investigative wall. If you think about any like murder mystery or investigative show where they've got the wall with all the strings running to pictures and different notes and stuff trying to tie it all together, that is what you're doing with Saga. So as you're playing the game, you investigate different pieces, you find different pieces of evidence, you find different pictures and whatnot, and you're trying to piece the story all together to figure out what the heck the cult is doing, how it's linked to Alan Wake, why all this weird shady shit's happening at Bright Falls. And it's really fun. Like, it's really fun to get in there. She can profile people, so you get like these little mini cutscenes talking of like profiling different individuals as you're trying to, put this investigation together and figure out who the heck is committing murders, why the cult is doing all of this. And if you're smarter, like, there's a kind of a pretty big twist at the end. If you're smarter than me and you're able to read between the lines and kind of piece all this stuff together, you'll probably figure it out way before I did, because I didn't really piece it together at all. It was like, once it got revealed, I was like, oh, shoot. Well, I didn't end up reading everything, because there's a lot of collectibles, a lot of different pieces of evidence and stuff. But like, if you're a wizard, you probably could have figured it out way before me. But that's Saga. She's trying to figure out this murder mystery stuff, which was a ton of fun. And the psychological horror aspects of this game is incredible. The sound design is freaking awesome. There were times where I was legit freaked out playing through this game. It's dark, it's eerie, there's not much music, you've got a little in the background, but you're walking through this dark gray forest. Then it starts to rain a little bit, you hear things. It's really good. And the combat on top of that, it felt way better in this game. I didn't feel like I was killing that many enemies, whereas I feel like in Alan Wake 1, I was constantly in fights and I didn't really have time to breathe or take in all the horror aspects of the game. Whereas this one, it lets you settle in, you get to absorb the atmosphere and really get sucked into this horror video game. And it was fantastic. I felt like the balance between gameplay and combat was awesome. Like, puzzles felt really good. They weren't stupid baby easy, but they also weren't crazy difficult. I mean, some of them I couldn't actually figure out. There was one that involved like some pretty difficult math, and I had to watch a video to learn how to do the math, but I'm stupid. Regardless, most of the puzzles were pretty doable, and they did make you feel smart when you solved them. You're like, oh shoot, yeah, that was like, it's kind of tricky. It wasn't just some baby easy puzzle. And that goes for both Saga and Alan. So yeah, like playing as Saga, like I said, was a ton of fun doing the murder mystery stuff. And then playing as Alan, you're kind of in the dark for a lot of the game. You don't really know what the hell's going on. At one point, Alan Wake gets this light that he's able to swap back and forth between worlds, I think, or timelines. I'm not really sure, but that was used for puzzle solving. That was very creative. You get lots of different guns. Well, not lots, but you get a few different guns. You get a pistol, you can get a double barrel shotgun, and eventually you get a pump shotgun. While playing as Saga, there was this rifle at this hospital that I was at, but I couldn't figure out how to get in. The door was missing a doorknob, and I'm kind of the type of player where I try not to look up things like that if I don't have to, because it definitely affects the game, and I kind of just settle with the fact of, okay, if I can't get it, then, that's kind of just on me at that point. So I don't know, it just depends. I could have very easily just looked up the puzzle to solving to how to get the hunting rifle. Maybe I should have, because I don't typically replay video games. Regardless though, like, it was fantastic. Like, the guns felt good. You never felt like you had too much of stuff. Like, I think I played on just the normal difficulty, so I always had enough ammo to fight. But there were times where I did run out, and it wasn't frustrating, but it like definitely puts the pressure on you while you're fighting, because you run out of shotgun shells, or you're out of pistol ammo, or God forbid you run out of batteries for your flashlight, so then you got to rely on flares or flash grenades. So it was really good. I mean, the monsters that you fight are freaking creepy, and like most of the monsters are just humanoids with like maybe a deer mask on or something. There are a few different ones that I'm not going to spoil that were kind of freaky. I'll just say that reflection has something to do with it. But yeah, I mean, Alan Wake's part of the story, you mostly stay around this city, and you're going, from in this city, you go to a hotel, you go to like a cinema theater type place. I think my favorite level, I'm not going to spoil it, but when I got to this point, like, I had a smile on my face the entire time. It's so freaking good, dude. It is one of the most like out of nowhere levels that I've ever experienced in a horror game, maybe even just in video games in general, where all I'll say is Old Gods of Asgard. Oh my, it was so good. After that, I went and looked up, there's music videos and stuff for all this. Really freaking good. So I loved all of this. There was a lot of callbacks to the original Alan Wake, so I definitely feel like if you're going to play Alan Wake 2, you should at least, if you're not going to play Alan Wake 1, you should at least go look up like a story recap, because really that's the part that matters, because there's a lot of stuff that happens in number 1 that is directly related to number 2. The story, like I said, is really like one of the driving factors of this game. Is there's so much mystery. You're left in the dark, and there's so many different things happening where you learn about Saga and her family, and then you learn about Alan and his wife, and lots of pieces. Once they start getting put together, you're like, oh freaking A, dude, this is like, it's cool, it's freaky, it's mysterious. I love it. This is probably one of the best stories in horror games that I've played. It's just a straight up psychological horror where things are happening all the time. I wouldn't say that jump scares are always happening, but there were so many times where, like, man, they got me. Because you go like underground subways, you go to murder hotels, which was freaking creepy. Like, you're walking through this hotel where there's just people have been murdered up the wazoo, and you get to keep changing scenarios with Alan Wake because of, when you're in the dark place, and a lot of things surrounding him and his part of the story. Because kind of the whole theme of the game is you're rewriting the story so that you can get the good ending. So yeah, I mean, that was Old Gods of Asgard. Fantastic. Probably my favorite level just because it caught me off guard. But like prior to that, you're on a talk show with a guy, and there's a lot of mystery there. There's lots of live cutscenes too, by the way, live action cutscenes, which is so good. They got they modeled the characters after the real life actors, which is really cool. I will say one part that did kind of take me out of it is you can definitely tell that the actor playing Alan Wake 2 is not the voice actor. It just doesn't match, but it was like fine. It wasn't that immersive breaking. It's just definitely something that I picked up on. After you beat each chapter, you get like a pretty cool song. Like I don't know if they got bands that specifically made music just for this. I didn't really look into it that deep anyway at this point, but the music was really good. I love going back and forth between Saga and Alan, and you can switch almost at any time. Like at a save station, there's usually a mop bucket that you can swap back and forth between both stories, and I would definitely recommend playing both stories and play a couple hours of Saga and then go play a couple hours of Alan and then go back to Saga and then back to Alan. Like it's fun just doing it that way, and that's kind of how I did it. It's fun just seeing the story unfold that way. You can do upgrades where Alan Wake has a lot of different upgrades that you can get more health, you can do more damage with guns, you can do more damage with your light, you can upgrade his backpack to carry more things, whereas Saga's upgrades were just the gun. Like you could upgrade your pistol or your shotgun or a crossbow or eventually the rifle, which I didn't get. So it's like there's definitely a big enough difference between playing Saga and Alan that it's enjoyable, and it feels different enough that you don't feel like you're getting the same cycled experience. Like it's definitely more different than like a Resident Evil campaign where you play as Chris, or then you play as Jill, or you play as Claire, or you play as Leon. Like those, it's the exact same gameplay minus you're getting different items and whatnot, and maybe there's a little bit of character differences there. But with Saga and Alan, like a lot of the gameplay is different too. You're going about things differently. Yeah, ton of fun. I freaking love this game, and the kind of the end game, I didn't get burnt out, but like there's a point where the game is like, hey, this is it. You can't go back after this. So if you want to go explore, which this game is like mildly open world where you can kind of go off and do your own thing and explore and unlock things. So even at the point I got to, I could have went back to where that hunting rifle was and find it. There's not really fast travel per se, but there kind of is, because you can fast travel between different big areas, but you have to, you're going to end up walking along a lot of the ways because you can't fast travel exactly right to where you want to be. Regardless though, like it was good. And once I got to the end game, I thought, okay, maybe I've got like an hour or less. Let's lock in and beat it. But it wasn't an hour less. It's like 2 or 3 chapters into the end game where I'm like, holy crap, it just keeps going and going and going. But there's like one of the climactic battles towards the end was freaking sick. Once again, old gods of Asgard, they come in. It's fantastic, man. The characters are great. The storytelling is great. The atmosphere, the sound design, the gameplay, the combat, the music, all of this comes together so well. This game is perfectly crafted. It is so good. I love this game to death. I think this is going down as one of the best survival horror games ever. It is a literal masterpiece. This game for me is a 10 out of 10. It left me speechless at times. It freaked me out at others. And when I was done, I sat back, I stared at my screen, I watched the credits, and I just thought, wow, what did I just play? And then after that, I learned that New Game Plus gives you like the real good, better ending. So I wasn't going to play Alan Wake 2 again. You know, I'm not going to do a double playthrough back to back. So I just ended up looking up that the final cutscene for the true ending. But hey, there's a lot of extra content if you want to jump back in and do a New Game Plus, which probably is recommended. But like I said, I don't really replay games. I kind of get everything I want out of them the first time through, and that's probably why I play through games a little bit slower than others. Usually when I look up how long to beat, I'm more often than not over whatever they say the average time is, just because I like to explore and look around. And whenever I play a video game, I try to get the most out of it as I can while I'm playing, because like I just said, I typically don't go back and replay games. Not very often. But this was a fantastic experience. I loved it. I could not recommend Alan Wake 2 enough to people that like survival horror games. I should have played this game 2 years ago when it first came out, but I didn't. And now that I did play it, I'm so glad that I did. And once again, I'm just going to say it again. Old Gods of Asgard. It's so good. I love Alan Wake 2. This was awesome. It makes me want to go play some of the other games that Remedy has made, because I've learned post playing this that like Control and other games have references and are kind of, I think they take place all in the same world. So yeah, I think Control, I'm going to throw that on my list. But yeah, Alan Wake 2, you guys should go play it. It's one of the best survival horror games I've ever played. So freaking good. I love it to death. 10 out of 10. One of the best horror games ever. So that is it. That is Alan Wake 2. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this game down below. Let me know if there's any other horror games that you guys would recommend that I should check out that are similar, if not in the same vein as Alan Wake 2. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And as always, Old Gods of Asgard.